This is Lillian Warner-Green, and this is Lillian Warner-Green. Today's February the 12th, the year 2021, and we are in the Kelly Center. So let's start with you telling us a little bit about yourself. Can you tell us about where you're from, how you grew up, where you grew up, and if you have any specific childhood memories that you would like to share with us?
Um, yes, I am from Austin, Texas, and I grew up in a household where my mother was the one that raised us because my father passed away when he was 31 and I was 5. So basically, she did all the raising. Of course, we were very fortunate because we had our grandparents that lived 2 houses down. We had a great aunt that lived 3 houses down. And then we had our great grandparents who lived 2 blocks away. So it actually took the village to raise us.
How many siblings?
Uh, I have I had an older brother and I have a younger sister. So I'm the middle child, which is interesting.
Yes.
Position to be in.
Can attest to that.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did you get acquainted with TCU?
When I was looking at colleges to attend, I knew that I did not want to attend the University of Texas in Austin because when I was in junior high school, I attended a gifted and talented program, and the college was just too large for me. I I wanted a more intimate type of college atmosphere, and so plus I wanted a Christian school. My great grandfather was a minister, so they emphasized, Christianity to us. And so, uh, as I was looking at the schools, I looked at, of course, University of Texas, where I didn't want to go. My cousin went there, but I didn't want to go. And then I looked at Tuskegee. Uh, I wanted to go there because I wanted to be a veterinarian originally. And my grandparents did not want me to leave. So you always have to have a backup plan. And so I looked into TCU, and it was a Christian school. It was smaller then. So I felt like that would be the best atmosphere for me.
So your expectations were a small, intimate atmosphere. Uh, how did you expect Christianity to be practiced on campus?
Um, Basically, we had to go to chapel
Right.
every week, and then we had to study the Bible, the Old and the New Testament, which was, very interesting to me. So Christianity on the campus, the people, the students, the teachers, the staff, they were all very welcoming to us as being African American. Of course, in the city, that's where I ran into more of the racism. One incident, I had to ride the bus to come to school because I did not stay on campus. And I got on the bus, I sat at the front of the bus. And so there were 2 Caucasian women that got on the bus, and one of them asked the other one, and I could hear, since when can they sit at the front of the bus? And the other lady told her, oh, they've been sitting at the front of the bus for a long time. So I thought that was really, I mean, it was unnerving because you have to be in the community. And so that was my first experience with that. I did not have that experience in Austin. Pretty much, I could sit on the bus anywhere I wanted to. I could go to any store. Um, there were, what was, trying to think of the place, but there there was a restaurant downtown that we couldn't sit, at the bar, but that was okay.
And we're talking year 1964.
Yes, we're talking years 1964, 63, right in there. Um, I don't. When I talked to my sister about the incidents, because in our neighborhood, at the drugstore, they had, a counter where they served food and soft drinks and stuff. We could sit at the counter there. And my sister told me, she said, you have to realize that our great-grandfather, he was a business owner. He owned a filling station. He owned a rug cleaning business. So he was an entrepreneur.
Right.
And everyone in the neighborhood knew that we were his great-grandchildren. So maybe that was the reason why we didn't have a problem. I don't know.
Have that status.
Yeah.
Speaking of your childhood, how did your peers in high school or junior high, what was their attitudes toward you attending TCU? Because I assume that they found out you were going to go to TCU before graduation. Were they supportive? Um, were they doubtful? What do you think was their reaction?
Well, when Austin decided to integrate their schools, it was voluntary. So my parents decided that we, should go to the school in our neighborhood. So we were both in junior high school, my sister and I. So we went to University Junior High. And from there, we went to Stephen F. Austin High School. So basically, we came from an integrated school system. And so we didn't have anybody that we dealt with that did not support whatever school we decided to go to.
So you were already familiar with integration, with being the minority,
right,
in the whole institution. Now, I'd like for you to walk us through your first day at TCU, if you can, to the best of what you can recollect from beginning to end. Don't spare any details. Just imagine that we close our eyes and we can just see what's going on.
Okay. To begin with, we had orientation. So we got to meet, our classmates that we possibly may have in class. So my first day of class was not really scary. It was very easy to go to your classes, listen to your professors, meet your fellow students, and try to develop friendships. So the first day of school, I made some new friends, especially in the areas that I decided I wanted to major in, which was math and music at that time. And so I didn't run into anybody not welcoming us on campus. So it was very uneventful, nothing special happened. Of course, I met the other African American students, and we gathered together and decided that since it was just us on campus, that we would always stick together and help each other out and tutor each other in the subjects that we had problems in. And that made it easier, I guess, on campus. Some of the other African Americans stayed on campus, which they did run into some problems. Not major problems, but some problems.
So what do you think was there? Did they also feel that it was relatively uneventful? Were they surprised by the fact that it was uneventful?
They felt like it was uneventful. Yes, they did. They weren't surprised. One of my classmates, Mildred Sims, she did run into some problems through the years. When she was a sophomore, she wanted to become I think they called them the dorms managers.
Right.
And she wanted to become one because she felt like, she was one of them. But the dean called her in and told her, no, you can't do that. We don't want to cause any problems because the parents would not want you disciplining their child or adult child. And so that was one thing that she ran into, but she just let it go. Yeah, because the main reason we were on this campus was to get an education. Later, during our college years, the sororities and fraternities were not open to us. So we reached out to the community and were able to join a sorority.
So speaking of Mildred Sims, back in 2001, I read that she said that she didn't encounter any major bias, except for Greek life, which you just mentioned, and we were going to cover that a little bit later. So tell us, since everybody was so welcoming, why do you think it took so long for TCU to integrate? We are one of the last schools to actually integrate. Others, as far as one decade earlier, chose to integrate African American students. Why did we wait so long since clearly everybody was in favor?
Probably because of the clientele, the Caucasian. Probably the school felt like they weren't ready yet. And that would be the only reason I could think of that they didn't integrate sooner. I know UT North Texas, that they had already integrated. So, and you would think that they would have integrated early because it was a Christian school. But we know from history, when you say Christian, it means different things to different people. That they can tolerate some things and some things they cannot.
I have a couple of questions before we take a break. So, in an article that I read, both Miss Sims and you stated that you didn't realize that you were making history, and you said earlier, no, it's just a regular day, just going to school.
Right.
How does it feel now to know that you've been such a trailblazer?
I've thought about that. Right now, it's an honor. At the time, I didn't feel like it was stressful at the time, but over the years, I have found that we did experience stress because we were one of the first. So, but to us, we just wanted an education. It didn't matter where.
As simple as that.
That was the main thing for us.
And you all seem to have gone off to quite successful careers afterwards. Can you tell us a little bit about your achievements after TCU?
Let's see. After TCU, I became a teacher for Fort Worth ISD. And then later, I became an administrator in charge of one of the magnet programs in Fort Worth. And then my last 2 years, I served as a grant coordinator for Fort Worth ISD for the grant programs, the magnet middle schools. I was over that. So I did move along. And originally, I just wanted to stay in the classroom, but Mildred Sims asked me if I would apply for the job because it was at her campus. And I thought about it. I talked to my mom about it, and I decided to go in and apply, and I got the job. So we helped each other.
So you have remained connected like long after TCU?
Right.
With the others too?
With most of them, we've lost contact with some, but with most of them.
So what was it like to be in the same class as James Cash?
I was in the same class with James. I was in a math class with him. He was just a regular student.
Not thinking he was making history.
Not thinking about it at all. Now, he knew he was making history because of the basketball thing.
Right.
But it really didn't bother him because he just wanted to play basketball and get a good education.
We're gonna take a quick break.
Okay.